believe that we should go back to the top-down economics of the last decade. They figure that if we simply eliminate regulations and cut taxes by trillions of dollars, then the market will solve all of our problems. We don't need more top-down economics. What we need is some middle-class out economics, some bottom-up economics. I have an economic plan based on the shared vision that's always worked for America's middle class and all those striving to get there. A plan focused on education and energy and innovation and infrastructure and a tax code that is fair and responsible. That's how we're going to build this country. That's why I'm running for president of the United States.
President Obama in Tampa, Florida today, presenting his case for a bottom-up economics to help the middle class. The president laid out the contrast between his policies and the Republican agenda, particularly when it comes to cutting taxes for the wealthy.
To pay for another $250,000 tax cut for the average millionaire, they want you to foot the bill. Let me see a show of hands. Is there anybody here who can afford to pay thousands of dollars to give people like me and Mr. Romney another tax cut? Come on, go ahead and raise your hand. Don't be shy. Now, look, that's their entire economic plan. That's it. When Mr. Romney tells us he's some sort of financial wizard who can fix our economy, that's how he intends to do it. And Bill Clinton has pointed out that this Republican agenda, it's nothing new. It's nothing more than the same thing we tried during the last administration, except on steroids.
And what is Mitt Romney doing while the president is talking about fairness and the middle class and middle class jobs? He just arrived at an exclusive resort in Park City, Utah, for a 3-day summit with ultra-rich donors, supporters who have given Romney more than $100,000 apiece will be able to attend Q&A sessions with the candidate, participate in strategy and policy meetings, hobnob at dinner with an afternoon tea. They'll probably have in those quiet rooms. And, of course, they'll be able to play golf, lots of golf. Joining me now is Melissa Harris Perry, host of Melissa Harris Perry, right here on MSNBC, and Bob Franken, King's feature syndicated columnist. Thank you both for joining me.
Absolutely.
Good to see you.
And don't hate on golf. Reverend, golf is fun.
That's right.
Melissa's down there playing golf while we're here in steamy Washington fighting.
Playing golf in New York, Melissa?
Melissa, let me ask you, how do you assess the president's economic argument against Romney's? I mean, in terms of, do you feel it's effective?
Yeah, I think he's done exactly here what needs to be done, which is to say there is no there. There's no actual economic plan from the Romney camp. The economic plan is solely a plan about cutting taxes. Now, you know, there can be ideological disagreements about how we stimulate the economy, about, you know, sort of what creates more jobs, that kind of thing. But what is important here is for the president to keep pointing out, here is my multi-point agenda. Here are the things I believe can work to create a safety net, to generate jobs, to give tax relief to the middle class. And all that Governor Romney is offering at this point are more tax cuts.
And as he does this, Bob, we're told by a report in Bloomberg that he being Romney, he's actually asking Republican governors to downplay the fact that unemployment is going down in their states. Several governors, including the governor of Florida, are saying that unemployment is going down. Jobs are coming in the state. They're touting it for their own records and their own political reasons. But that goes contrary to what Romney's trying to say, is that we are on the brink and that President Obama hasn't done anything.
Well, that's right. The governors are going off message. But that meeting that's going on in Park City, Utah, is really important when it comes to undermining pretty much the obvious message that the president has right now, because they are able to pay whatever amount of money it is needed to put out messages that distort things, that use terms like class warfare, like socialism, distorting the meaning of free enterprise, that type of thing. So the message that might be an obvious one, that is to say that the middle class has been shafted, that is going to be lost in all this noise that confuses people.
Now, when you look at the fact that the American public, Melissa, seems to really prefer the president over Mitt Romney in very critical areas. When you look at the polls, connects with ordinary Americans, 59 President Obama, 28 for Romney. Honesty, 46% President Obama, 32% Governor Romney. Judgment, 50% President Obama, 37% Romney. Consistency, 46% President Obama, 34% Romney. So when it comes to characteristics that are important on how someone shapes their view of a person, in very critical areas, the president is overwhelmingly supported by the American people.
But I think that the distinction that your guest just drew is the important one, which is, as you've pointed out, looking at those poll data, the American people, they clearly have a great deal of respect for President Obama as a person, as a leader. I think there's a huge base for him there, sort of a position of strength to build on for a reelection campaign, despite the fact that we're in an economically difficult time, although an improving time. But the counter is whether or not sort of the power of the people, of ordinary people and their opinions and their votes, will be overwhelmed by the massive amount of money that we're seeing come into this election, especially post Citizens United.
Well, Bob, go ahead on that.
Well, and Melissa, I think that this is going to be a campaign, quite frankly, that is about demonization. I think that there's going to be this tremendous effort to erode President Obama's favorability ratings right now. I think that there's going to be this constant harangue about being anti-free market, that type of thing. And there's going to be this effort to kind of camouflage the fact that Mitt Romney has a different tune every day, every decade.
Yeah. And I also think that they're going to try and attack cabinet members and anything that would try to make them look different, un-American, anti-American.
You mean like a certain attorney general?
As far as I know, there's only one.
Who happens, frankly, and I hate to be the one to bring this up, who happens to be a man of color.
Yep. You brought it up, Melissa, and I didn't. But we didn't disagree. And again, I don't even know, and let me be clear, I'm not saying even that the congressmen are doing it because he's black, but I think that they send the signals. See, I think there's a lot of people playing the race signal here to play to a certain crazy base that they may not personally feel that way, but they know exactly what they're playing to.
Let me take this out of the realm in my perception of it just being a matter of black and white. I think it's a matter of trying to appeal to a base and rev up a base by this whole constant harangue of he's not one of us. It manifests itself in a number of different ways. And I think that is part of what's going on with Eric Holder. I think, by the way, there's some valid questions about Holder's conduct.
No doubt about it.
But the point is, I don't think that is the real intent.
I think it should be raised on McCasey and everybody else. Melissa?
Yeah, I was going to say, and I think Bob's point about this sort of he's not like us is a way of undermining exactly that poll data that you just showed, Reverend, where if, in fact, ordinary Americans are feeling like, okay, President Obama is actually someone who came from an ordinary working family, worked his way up, has a sense of accomplishment, that he didn't pay off his student loans until really just moments before taking a seat in the U.S. Senate, because he understands what that kind of ordinary financial struggle looks like for households. But if you can undermine that by suggesting that racial difference or ethnic difference is somehow the thing that separates us, it actually keeps people from voting in their own economic interests.